utility bill data that's put into EnergyPro. So once you've checked off all the boxes, then you put in the values that you want. This essentially will say then the post-retrofit house will have this new building leakage, this duct leakage, and this insulation. All other features will be the same. When you're ready, you then click on Calculate. And EnergyPro will take a minute or so to fill. This bar will start filling up as it does the calculations. And when it's done, then the values will appear here at the bottom of the screen. The individual columns, such as the model's representation of the different features of the home, how much energy is being used. Notice that with the Res Performance module, we're getting site energy use, which is the kind of energy use that we need for the rebate calculations. And this gives you a quick snapshot of what is going to be your savings. Now, what you'll find is you might end up with some odd results like this. Maybe you've got a situation where you expect the savings values to go up every time you add a feature, but then it drops down. We'd like to hear from you if you run into that. If you can send us a copy of examples like that, we use that information to send it back to EnergyPro for improvements. If you see something like that where you've got odd results, it's possible, though, that the values either didn't quite get added or maybe they don't match with what was entered in with the back in the main part of the model. So you double check, make sure that duct leakage, for example, that you've got 12% here and 115. You would want to go back to where duct leakage is. That's in the HVAC system under distribution, and make sure that the numbers you had in previously took. Well, we had our measured duct surface area. I don't know that that would make a difference, but we have this 250 over here. Let's see. We'll just try a few things to see if that fixes it. It may not, but we'll try it again. All right, now that it's done, we can take a look at it. So we see that that seemed to have fixed our problem. It was so busy looking at the measured duct surface area section that we ultimately really didn't want that it seems to have affected our values. So here we are. We've found that with this combination of measures, we get a little over 15% savings. This is for programs that have a threshold that it's 15% and above. This program could be submitted as an advanced job, and the rebate for that would be this is the estimate of what the rebate amount would be. The way that the program works, as you may all already know, we ask for a simulation to be run before the work is to start, so that we can make sure that you've turned in the paperwork that we need to give an OK to proceed, make sure that the model was filled out the same way as the reporting spreadsheet was filled out. And then when we say that OK, you go ahead and do the work, you might find that when you go and do the work, the outcome is different than what you had said would happen. Maybe you were able to seal even further than you originally expected, or there might have been a change order somewhere in there, all of which is fine within the program. However, when you are done with the work and resubmit your information back to the program, the model needs to be updated to reflect the conditions where the house was left in terms of what improvements were actually made. Those will give you a different result typically. When you rerun the model, the savings number may go up or down, and that's why we always ask our contractors to be careful about how you present your initial estimate of savings to the homeowner, in that it really is an estimate in the ballpark of where it will be. and it's possible it may go up or down. The number that we use to calculate the rebate, the actual rebate, is the post-retrofit submission, what actually occurred after the work was done. I'm going to show one more thing with EnergyPro. When you get to this point, you're almost done, but not quite. You also need to do some reports in order to get the information that you need to put into the model. And the ones that are most helpful to you, and you can get experienced as this as you run more models, is that you need the Econ 1 and Econ 2 under your res performance module. You need those reports depending on what it is you are doing. I spoke earlier about a situation where you may want to run one model, a situation where you may want to run two models. This was an example of where you run everything in one model. So let's go through that, and then I'll explain the case of having two models. You've checked these off. You can click on Report Wizard. And it'll say, what do you want to do? And it'll say, I want a res performance report. I've checked off 1 and 2. And you can hit Finish or you can hit Print Preview. It basically is the same result. What will happen is the PDF version of the report will show up. And so this is what we've got going. We've got the Econ 1. And Econ 1 will basically show you everything from the existing home model. So it'll break down the energy used by month with a total at the bottom, therms used total at the bottom, kilowatt hour peak total at the bottom, and then it sums it up for you at the bottom. This is what you will end up using if you are running two separate models. However, in the Econ 2, which is the second one that I checked off, this one will actually give you everything you need in one place. So if you look, it's broken down the individual measures. It's the same snapshot that we saw on the main model, but it also shows you the total electricity use. So from the existing home, the improved home, and the savings, the difference. Also, what they've labeled fossil fuel, the therms, the natural gas use, so the existing, improved, and savings. So these are the numbers here, the existing, improved from therms, existing and improved kilowatt hours that you want. And then down here, notice here's the kilowatts. For a long time, it was hard to get that number. EnergyPro makers, EnergySoft, they put it in for us into the Econ 2 now, so you can get the existing and improved. So our numbers 11,599 and 10,151. If you have a situation where you have systems that you cannot model the savings by just plugging it into the screen, if for whatever reason this is too simplified, maybe you're redoing the duct system and it's not, you are having trouble representing that here because there's nowhere in here you can say that the duct system was updated. You can do duct leakage, but if you've insulated the ducts but not all the ducts, maybe only some of the ducts, or if you've done something that doesn't appear to be possible here, you always have the option of going up to here, you do a save as, you create a copy of your model, you save it under a different name, and then when you have that copy, you turn that copy into your post-retrofit model. So you already have built the pre-retrofit, you can use the copy to be your post-retrofit, and you make the changes in the main part of the model. You actually make the changes in the building tree, save it, you run it. Basically, all you'll get then is just the first row, because you'll not run the alternatives tab anymore. You've got two models, one's before, one's after. You'll just run each of them and generate an Econ 1 report, because again, if we go back to Econ 1, that gives you just the data for the existing house, or basically the main model. And you'll have the one for the pre-retrofit house, and you'll have one of these for the post-retrofit house, and that's where you'll get your pre-retrofit energy, kilowatt hours, pre-retrofit therms, your post-retrofit kilowatt hours, post-retrofit therms. Okay, we'll go back to the model now. That's the general overview, and I'm going to take us back to the questions. Many questions. Appreciate your patience with this. There are lots of specific questions which I may have to save for answering offline, but I will try to get to some of these. There's one question that says, is there any way to export the data from EnergyPro and drop it into the jobs reporting template? So meaning that you can export something from EnergyPro and then it goes right into that spreadsheet. At the moment, there is not an easy way for that to happen. In fact, it's somewhat complicated. The way that the makers of EnergyPro have set it up is that they export things in XML. Unfortunately, it's not just a tab delimited file or something Excel can read rather easily. And so what we are doing is we are developing a system that will take that XML output from EnergyPro and import it into a database system that can handle it. Just so you know, we will be announcing this soon, but we are moving the reporting system to an online system for those that are in the PG&E and SMUD territories. We're moving to an online database system that will let you upload your files, and then the system will take care of some of this importing for you. So we will explain that as it comes live. We're looking within the coming month to bring that online, and hopefully that will take away some of the time required to fill in both EnergyPro and the Excel file. There's a question about, are the percent savings shown on this screen added together to see what level of incentives the customer will qualify for? Just to be clear on how this works, EnergyPro is taking each of the measures and it is running each of that. It's basically simulating the house as it started, the pre-retrofit condition, and then it adds each of the measures in turn and in a sense reruns the simulation with one on top of the other. We call this running it with interactive effects. If you recall on the calculations tab, this is run measures combined together. Basically what it's doing is it says, when it gets down to this bottom row, it's saying, what is the energy use of the house with all of these, all of these retrofit measures in place? So that's what you get when you go to the bottom row. So it's this amount at the bottom, the 15.5% in this example, that's the energy savings. This second row is what would happen if you only added roof insulation, for example. This row is what would if you added roof insulation and did the infiltration only. And then this is all three. So that's what's happening. We do not run them individually. Notice that is one of the options, run tests at home with, run individual measures. You are welcome to run that just for your own interest, but that is not how we want the information reported to us, and it's not how we calculate the values.